Good morning, or shall I say good afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Adam Duval, aka the Mental Health Warrior, and today, or tonight, for people, we have got two brilliant people. Firstly, I'm going to introduce my co-host, another host of the Mental Health Warriors. His name is Steve Knapp, the Mindset Warrior.
Hello, everybody. How you going, Adam?
I am fine, and our guest has literally just arrived. So I will actually do the countdown, and I'll bring him in, and then we'll just rock this ship like there's no tomorrow.
Fantastic. So let's do it.
I will do that. Here he is. Alex Blake, you need to unmute yourself, buddy. There you go.
Okay, hold on. Where is it? Hold on.
Yeah,
I'm on mute. Can you hear me? Oh, sorry about that.
Yes.
Welcome to Warrior TV, Alex.
Thanks for having me on. Sorry about the technical issues. I was having a bit of a nightmare. You can't even see me properly, can you? Hold on.
Not really. No.
Technology. Hold on. If I move a bit, is that better?
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, Kerry, for sharing this on Facebook. That's brilliant. If you're on laptop, share it on LinkedIn as well. That'd be brilliant. Let's get these views going. So I've got to say, Alex meets Steve Knapp, the Mindset Warrior. He's
Yes.
Yeah. I've told him quite a bit about you.
Yeah, mate. I'm really impressed, mate. I am very excited. I had a bit of a look through your bio, and yeah, it sounds like we've got quite a few similarities in our history and where we've been and where we're going now. I'm really excited about this. It's going to be awesome.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Been looking forward to it since Adam reached out to me. When it was now, a couple of weeks ago or something, but. Been looking forward to coming on. So yeah, I've been watching Secret in the background, a bit about Warrior and mental health on the YouTube channel and stuff. So trying to see a bit about what you guys have been doing.
What's your view? What's your view on us?
Yeah, I think it's sort of like a relaxed environment, so it doesn't take it too seriously. It's like you like to have a laugh, I suppose, where even though it's like a serious subject, I don't always have to be so serious where you're kind of worried about opening up or sharing. You can kind of have a laugh of it a little bit and almost like accept that you've got it and just you can still get on with your life, even if you've got a mental health illness.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, Steve, I'm going to hand it over to you. Do you want to throw some quick fire questions at him?
Oh, quick fire questions.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right. I'll go a quick one. Where did the idea of the PMA obviously come from?
That's a good question. So it basically started in 2016. So five years ago now. And it basically followed about 5 months of recovery from my lowest point, basically. So to cut a long story short, I basically tried to take my own life. So following a few months of recovery and being diagnosed with bipolar disorder later down the year, I basically then experienced like a manic phase. So the complete opposite depression. I was just a bit crazy and doing things I shouldn't have, spending a lot of money and signed off work for 2 months and things like that. And I basically had a vision that I knew I wasn't right in my head now, but I had this vision of helping people once I was better. And I think I saw a few bits around like kind of positive mindset and stuff. So that's the kind of where the PMA came about. And then it's almost like obviously was a bit of a joke to start with, because it was like, obviously you want to be positive because you won't get anywhere if you're negative. If you're constantly doubting yourself or moaning, then you're not going to get anywhere. No one's going to want to be around you and stuff like that. So it started as a bit of a joke and it just kind of stuck. So yeah, I had a couple of people say I shouldn't really go with the word obviously in my business name, but I just thought, well, it's different and it works for me. So yeah, that's pretty much how it started.
I love it. I reckon it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm a massive believer in the positive mindset as well, and I think the more you can put that out there and portray that out into the universe, the better it is for everybody. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's simplistic, nothing heavy about it, and it's something easy for people to latch onto and just grab a hold of and go, yeah, this is the way to live. I'm just going to be positive. If I'm always thinking positive thoughts in negative situations, it totally changes everything.
Definitely. That's obviously, it's hard to be positive all day, every day, and there's going to be times when you're challenged and maybe work stresses you out or personal life. But I've just learned a lot over the last 5 years about how you can react to situations. You can't necessarily change everything. You can change your viewpoint on it, and if you can't change it, try not to worry about those bits and focus on what you can change almost.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome message.
Yeah. So we have got a couple of questions for you, Alex. We're going to say cats or dogs.
Dogs, definitely.
And another one.
Sorry, Kerry. This mindset warriors are on fire here. It's Dogland.
And what does mental health mean to you?
So I would say mental health, obviously everyone has mental health to an extent. Obviously everyone can feel a certain way, have certain thoughts. I think having good mental health is feeling good in different areas in your life. So basically by being present. So whichever situation you're in, whether you're at work, you're with your family, friends, commuting, whatever it is, you're not your mind's not wandering, worrying or stressing or fearing. You're just like a dog almost in the moment. So you're just not really worrying about too much other than what you're actually doing in that moment. So if you've got your mind sorted and you're confident in where you're going and the knowledge and going there like a growth mindset, you don't know everything, but you can learn along the way. You can be more focused on what you're doing right now, which is going to make you more aware and be more responsive to other people, I would say.
Good answer.
Oh, yeah. That's what it's all about.
Definitely.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
I don't. I personally do like it. I like pineapple on pizza. I don't eat pineapple at all, other than if it's on a pizza, basically. So you don't agree with that?
Yeah.
I'm the same. I only eat it on pizza as well, even though I don't think it should be there. I just eat it because I don't like to waste. So if they put it on my Supreme, then I have it.
Yeah.
How can anyone like pineapple? It's rubber.
I think there's worse things you can have on a pizza, put it that way.
That's true. That's very true.
Absolutely. Yeah, my son has tuna on pizza. Random. He actually likes it as well, which is strange.
I'm starting to think pineapple doesn't sound too bad.
Oh, for God's sake.
Tuna's got a place on pizza, I think.
Who knows? I've never tried it. Never. But anyway, yeah. So talk to us about like you growing up, like where you based, and what was your life like growing up?
Okay. So I'm based in Southampton, so down south in the UK. Been here pretty much majority of my life. Childhood was always involved in sports pretty much. So I played football from a young age. Anything involving a ball, basically. That's all I ever wanted to do. I was never really focused as much as I could be maybe in school lessons, because I just couldn't wait for lunchtime to just play doubles with my mates or play for the football team after school and things like that. And that was the majority of my life, football, basically, with my family, friends, just all I used to talk about with my dad pretty much. And then kind of growing up, I think when you start to get those life decisions and life starts to get a bit more serious, when you have to start figuring out what you want to do with your life. That's where I probably started to kind of struggle a little bit internally and was a bit just worried and just lived in fear for a long time and didn't know what I wanted to do. I felt a bit lost, and it kind of just got worse over the years. And I suppose being quite an anxious person at the time, it just consumed me. I couldn't let go of those thoughts, and it started to affect me. Even socializing with friends started to withdraw from seeing friends and stuff. So I felt like I couldn't bring anything to the table. As I didn't know what I was doing with my life, I was just in a stuck really. And I kind of I felt even bad just Googling like my feelings. I know it sounds so like trivial, but even just Googling like things like, why am I feeling this way? I was like, why am I doing this? Why can't I even just speak to someone about this? But at the time, it was the only way I could really deal with it. And yeah, my issues, I suppose, started from leaving school about 12 years ago. So going through college and stuff, I still appeared in high spirits and appeared pretty good to the outsider, I suppose, because my grades are pretty good, I would say. But in the background, I was struggling with a lot of stuff that I just was able to, I think, get used to hiding quite well. I suppose if you can laugh off stuff and put a smile on your face, no one really bats an eyelid. So it was a struggle for quite a few years, and basically I reached rock bottom and burnt out probably about a couple months into and I tried to start a new journey, go to university as a mature student. I thought I'd follow my dream of being involved in sport, so I went to become a PE teacher. I thought that would save all my problems and stuff, but a few months in, when I realised that I was still having all my anxiety and depressive thoughts and stuff, I was like, oh no, if I can't even do this, I'm scared of going back to my old life. I just didn't see a way out. So I was living in halls, so I was very isolated. There wasn't much lectures a week. I wasn't working. I was injured, so I couldn't play sport. So the hours just became so long. So I nearly swore then. The hours became.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Swear if you want.
The hours became very grueling, basically, and I just became just so petrified of even leaving my room. So I just didn't see a way out, and I was based in Eastbourne, so it was actually on about 5-minute drive from Beachy Head, which I don't know if you've heard of, but it's kind of like a high suicide rate as well in the UK. So yeah, all these difficult, horrible thoughts were running through my mind, and yeah, it was basically a long battle of about, I'd say, 4 or 5 months of not sleeping, just screaming in my sleep, just so petrified of seeing people. And I was like, if I can't do this, how am I going to be able to teach a class, for one? And how am I even going to just do anything? I was so negative in my mind. So I only saw one way out, which was to end my life, basically. So as horrible as it is, I tried to just shut out my family and friends and stuff, and kind of like muted all like WhatsApp groups. I just slowly but surely tried to forget about basically everyone to try and make it an easier way out, if that makes sense. And yeah, it basically got to the point where I went somewhere to try and do something, and my mum basically saved my life. She had like mother's intuition, I suppose, and just kind of called me. I kept hanging up, and I think once I ended the call abruptly, she knew there was something wrong. And that was basically the start of basically promising my family I couldn't do what I wanted to do. So I had to survive for my family as well as myself. So it was like, okay, well, I can't do that, so I need to get better. So then it was just the start of how do I learn about the illness and overcome it, basically. So that's a bit about how the struggle started.
Wow. Mate, thanks so much for sharing so vulnerably there. That was amazing. I resonate a lot with so much of that. The one thing I'd love to know is, how did you manage to find the shift from going to Google for your answers to being able to manage to open up and actually talk to somebody about where you're at and find that help?
Yeah, that's actually another good question. So I basically, to start with, because I was still not very comfortable sharing any emotions or sharing my feelings or talking to my friends and stuff, it took a long time to just open up initially to my 3 best friends in their house where they lived in their lounge. But that was still very private. That was like the first time I basically broke down in front of my friends, and they saw I was actually in a bad way. And then I think maybe a month or 2 later, I basically did a long Facebook post. So it started on social media, really. I wasn't sleeping a lot because obviously my mind was still racing a lot. And I was like, I wanted to just open up people's eyes, I suppose, because a lot of people that I surround myself with in my local area, I think saw me as someone that was quite bubbly and sporty, and I used to have a few friends and stuff in school and stuff. So they wouldn't have thought I was this way inclined, I guess. So I basically did a long post on Facebook. I typed it all up before I posted it, and I was kind of crying while I was writing it because it was just a lot of vulnerability, like you said, that I didn't want to share. But I was like, if people had no idea that I was this close to trying to end my life, there's going to be many others that are probably in a similar position, if not now, then potentially in the future. Or this is way before COVID happened as well. But so yeah, I basically posted that, and I've never had so much reaction from a post. I think my private messages and stuff was just, my phone was blowing up for about a week, I think. So I was like, okay, there's definitely something in this. This was like the first kind of get the ball rolling of, okay, I can do something with this. Although I wasn't myself still at the time, I was still quite up and down with my emotions. I knew that the end goal was right. I just had to do it in the right way. So I basically, just started planning to promote PMA, obviously. So yeah, my first thing ever to PMA was on Facebook. So I started a PMA Facebook page. It was 1st of December 2016, and I basically opened up with like a live video. So I got some random stranger I passed in the street to basically film me. And if you go back to my page at the very beginning, you can see it. But I've actually got some random person to film me, and I was just talking in front of the bank. And I was still a bit obviously manic at the time, but I was basically trying, in my mind, I was trying to set up like a fundraiser, like a festival kind of thing, to promote mental health, and basically got everyone to kind of share it and try to raise some money and funds to become initially a mental health charity. And I think the video was viewed about 170,000 times. Wow. So it's by far the biggest video, even since now. My videos, I think, are a lot better now than them, but nothing's reached anything near that. So I think it was just, I think people were kind of bought into, I was still struggling at the time and wanted to just, I think they were just worried for my safety a little bit as well, which is understandable. But yeah, that's kind of how it took off. And I started doing things with it and thinking, how can I, obviously I've got lived experience of different mental health conditions, but I didn't really have as much knowledge as I could or training to kind of go about it in a different way. So it's basically, fast forward a few years later, and I've volunteered with Samaritans for a year as a listening volunteer to like learn how to have those difficult conversations and speak to those that are potentially in that crisis moment. So the training I got from them was great, and I've done a few bits of suicide training and mental health training, mental health first aid, and different things like that, and just learning along the way. And the other thing, the big thing that was stopping me or taking me this long was myself, because I think when I initially thought it was just going to be a success overnight after that initial video got quite a lot of engagement, I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. And then obviously then when everyone starts to think, oh, you're like a broken record, and they start to like maybe get a bit bored of the same old thing, I kind of thought, okay, well, this is maybe I've got too ahead of myself. So I basically put it to one side for probably a year or two. I've kind of thought I was just going to do this as a passion thing, and I tried to then focus on my finance studies where I currently work at the moment. But it was literally, a month before COVID hit, about February 2020. I was like, no, I failed another finance exam. It was like the 6th exam in a row I'd failed, and I was like, this is not for me. So it's basically just reigniting it and just trying to go about it the right way this time. So speaking to kind of friends and family to let them know I was doing it again, but from this time it was from a calm and collected point of view rather than manic, 100 mile an hour and spontaneous. So that's been pretty much the start of it, reignited from February last year until now, really. So about a year and a half.
That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Mate, that 170,000 views is huge. Yeah. But I also get where you're coming from when you say that it declined from there, because a lot of the time that first outpouring, I think, when you put it out there socially, does draw that attention. And then if you don't sort of deviate into a stronger stance on having a standpoint, it almost becomes like almost going down a pity path, and you sort of want to try to deviate away and be giving that value. And obviously, I mean, I think it was a blessing that you kept failing the finance stuff, mate, because obviously that was just pushing you. The universe was saying, Alex, the world needs you here. Forget finance. We don't need it. The world wants your voice.
I know. I think, because the company, I still work for a finance company, and they've been great to me. So they were obviously, they hired me literally at the start of my struggles, basically. So they basically stuck with me in that first raw year in 2016. I'd never been in finance before, so I never knew anything about it. And I was doubting myself, and just being in the office environment, I was so uncomfortable. I felt like I was hiding behind my screen and stuff. And then obviously, slowly but surely, you eventually start to learn little bits and get a bit more confidence in yourself. So I was like, and two of my close friends work there, so I was kind of trying to follow in their footsteps. But yeah, one exam I did pass took me 3 attempts, and that was just horrible. Like the books are about kind of that big. They're massive. You've got to learn so much stuff, and so you can only know so much when you're obviously in the moment. You can kind of go away and figure out stuff in your own way. But yeah, for that 6th exam failure in a row just knocked my confidence a lot, and I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this, and I was doubting myself. So I was like, what can I really achieve that I'm gonna enjoy the process for one, but then at the end of it, I can genuinely help people, and I know a lot about this particular topic, and mental health has always been there for me. So I don't need to read a load of books to know it, because I've experienced it for 15 odd years.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go back to sports because you clearly got a passion for that.
Yeah.
And it's that's a funny one off my wife. As a Southampton fan, because we picked up on that from your profile, she put, do you agree with Liverpool fans, because she's a Liverpool fan, when we call you Liverhampton instead of Southampton?
Yeah. Well, yeah. How many players have you taken from us already? It's about 7, isn't it? Well, Southampton's like the Liverpool B team, isn't it? Really, I suppose. I don't know, but yeah. Over the last few years, had taken a lot of players from Liverpool. From Southampton. But yeah, Southampton. I think the less said about them, the better at the moment, because we're losing a lot of our good players at the moment, and I'm fearful of the season ahead, because a lot of people are writing us off already and thinking we're gonna potentially be one of the favourites to get relegated, which I don't want to agree with. But unless we replace like Ings and Vestergaard, who are like the spine of our team, like 2 of our best players, if we're not going to replace them with like for like, then I can only see it going one way, really.
Well, apparently you're getting Adam Armstrong from Blackburn.
I think that's been a done deal now.
I don't know. See, I know Armstrong very well because he used to play for my team. So yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh nice. Yeah. I don't know too much about him. All I know was he Blackburn, wasn't he? So maybe was it a league or 2 below Southampton? So it'll be interesting to see if he can.
I'm not a Blackburn fan. No, I'm not a Blackburn fan. No.
I don't. Armstrong, I think, used to play for him. The guy that's just come to Saints.
Yeah. See, I'm a Bolton fan. You see. So yeah. Exactly.
But yeah,
what was that?
I said it'd be interesting to see if he can fill Danny Ings' shoes, because obviously Ings was very good for us and scored a lot of great goals and pretty much kept us up on his own, really. So it'd be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah, well, she put and turned them into stars. They left Southampton and turned them into stars. Who knows? But anyway, away from football, she actually put massive well done for turning your negative experience into a passion to help others.
Oh, thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
And not you, Steve. Stephen. Yeah, his mental health is struggling big time with what's going on at the moment. Yeah, if you can message the Mental Health Warrior page, someone will get back to you ASAP. Yeah, that's not a problem. We can talk. But yeah, it's... Where did you play in football anyway? What position?
So I was a centre midfielder, so box to box. A couple of years ago, I was a bit fitter than I am now, so I'm basically now finally decided to sort my lifestyle out with my diet and fitness levels. But yeah, with obviously the lockdown for the last 16 months or so, that obviously didn't help things. And just kind of coming out the other side of it, I started playing squash. And then basically in May the 15th this year, so coming up 3 months ago, I played squash against my friend who was running me around the court. I was getting battered and basically tore my Achilles tendon, or completely ruptured my Achilles tendon. So I'm still in a boot at the moment. So yeah, it's just coming up 3 months. I've only just kind of walking on it in a straight line, literally from yesterday. I was having a physio. So it's still gonna be another 3 months of slow recovery before I can start playing sport again, minimum, I'd say. So that's been difficult to accept, but yeah, just trying to keep busy in other ways at the moment.
Yeah, you keep touching on COVID. What has COVID done for you? Has it deteriorated your mental health, or has it given you opportunities?
I think before with my current company, before they made the decision to work from home, I was very kind of fearful of not being around people. Because obviously people can kind of help distract you and keep you positive and have a laugh and stuff. So I was just kind of going to be isolated, working from home all day, every day. I was quite worried about it. And for the initial 2 weeks, I did struggle. And because it felt like a lot of people, you were just kind of getting up to go to the lounge, to work, to go to sleep, to do it again. And it was like, there's nothing. Why am I doing this? So I think that's what kind of. I used the time wisely, as well as obviously working full time for them. And so I didn't want my day job work to kind of take a negative effect. So I was making sure I was obviously sticking to those deadlines I had. But all my lunch times, I was waking up a lot earlier than I had been, and any spare hour awake, I was basically working on PMA stuff. So I was basically, like you say, use it as an opportunity, because the time saved from the commute, the time saved from distractions in the office, and things like that. I was like, I can really use this time wisely. So when COVID, whenever it does finish, initially meant to be a couple of weeks or a few weeks, now over a year, I'll be in a much better place for it and feel like I've used the time wisely. So that's I basically changed my mindset quite early on and thought, no, this is definitely a good thing. And I think a lot of employees are now almost fighting back for the return to the office. A lot of them have seen the benefits from working from home. I know there's a lot that do prefer the office, but it's kind of the understanding that it's not one size fits all, and some prefer the home comfort, some prefer office comfort, some prefer a mix of both, but you can't treat everyone under the same brush.
That's true.
Yeah. I think that'd be an ideal world, wouldn't it? If you could sort of get that balance of the people that are more comfortable and productive at home staying there, and the ones that love being in the office going there. It will cut down all of our commute times, less cars on the road. We can all get more done, make every business more profitable. Obviously, our wages go up, and it'd just be great for humanity in general.
That's the dream, isn't it? I mean, actually, there's probably a lot more to it for companies than that, isn't there? Like, they've obviously got other worries or concerns for. Obviously, people may be slacking off at home potentially, but I think that there's definitely ways you can get around it. So as long as you're proving that you're doing your work and you can justify the time you're spent and like proving the hours you're working for them, as long as you can kind of be in a situation where you know what you're doing and they can't turn around and say, well, I've seen you do something else instead or whatever, then it should be a good thing, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the whole business mindset of having to trade the time for dollars. I think if someone's working from home and in 2 hours there, they're knocking out more than what you were getting out of them for 8 hours in the office, let them go for it. Pay them the same and let them have 6 hours to indulge their pleasures, because at the end of the day, your business is still improving and growing forward. You can't just keep thinking employees must be 100% owned by you for a period of time. If they're delivering or over-delivering on what's meant to be, it's a massive win for everybody, I think, and it gives people that chance to dig a bit deeper into some passions and find that joy in their own life that they're probably going to go above and beyond again at work, just because their attitude's better, they're happier, they're loving what's going on.
I definitely agree. That's like music to my ears. I think the 9 to 5 is obviously a certain way of working and doesn't suit some people, but I don't know. There's a lot of things I could say about it. Obviously, I'll have to be careful, but people, when you're working 9 to 5 in the office as well, a lot of people, because they know they're there for a certain amount of time, they'll drag out their work because they know if they do all their work early and they're not rewarded by, oh, you can go home, here's more work to do. So there's no, it doesn't really make sense. If you can get your work done in a short amount of time, you should be rewarded almost rather than punished. Especially if you don't really enjoy the work you're doing. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It makes sense when you start seeing these more new age environments where they'll have like a table tennis table or a bit of a gaming lounge, and you can bring your dog in, because I think there's a few, very small minority still, but there's a few businesses out there that are seeing the benefits from having happy employees. It's not a punishment zone. You want your staff to want to get up in the morning to come to work. It just changes everything for everyone involved.
Definitely, and it changes the environment from a toxic one to one where you want to come in and see people and share ideas or help each other. If you're not enjoying the time with your employees, if you are struggling with your workload, they're less likely to help you out if you were to try and delegate, for example, if everyone doesn't want to be there and doesn't want to do the work. So yeah, happy employees would be equal successful employees to an extent.
Yeah. Yes. So, going to education, do you think there's enough understanding and knowledge about mental health?
Personally, I think it's getting more towards that, but I still think there's a lot more that can be done, specifically in education. I know in workplaces they have a lot of like employee assistance programs and mental health first aiders and stuff like that. But I know I left school over 10 years ago now, but I still think even since I've done talks and stuff at colleges in the last couple of years or so, or schools, there's not many kind of resources or dedicated to mental health. So whether that is part of the curriculum almost, so you could kind of dedicate some time to speak to students about how they're actually feeling and coping with their workloads and stuff. I think there's definitely a lot more that can be done, because I think the main focus obviously is getting them passed through their GCSEs to then go on to the working world. But none of that means anything if you're struggling and don't want to leave the house.
Yeah.
Or don't want to do anything. So it has to be a lot done about it.
Yeah, because we're thinking of actually going into schools and offering workshops to these kids, in actually getting a better understanding of their own mental health. But it's whether they accept it or not. Yeah,
I've reached out to my old school a couple of times now. I basically said I'd do it for free just because I used to be there and I wanted to help and try and offer my help in whatever I can. Because also within the last month, there's been 2 suicides of 2 former students that were there. And that's just, I can't sit on the sidelines anymore. Like if that's my kind of area of expertise would be suicide prevention, and I can help. And I don't want to just see it on social media that another person who's 23 or younger couldn't see a way out and taken their life when they've got their whole lives ahead of them. It just makes me so sad. So I can't just sit in silence anymore.
We can't.
And there's a lot more out there now of people that can help. And I think it's just a lot of people. The well-being industry is probably more competitive than sales or finance in one way. So it's obviously it's finding the right support that works for you, but it shouldn't really be competition in the sense of we're making more money than you. If everyone can collaborate, there's more people, more support. That's only a good thing, because there's going to be enough people in the world that are going to be struggling, that there's enough to go around, and it doesn't really matter who's doing what, as long as you're helping that one person you have a conversation with. That's what matters, really.
Yeah, well, this is why the Mental Health Warriors was born, because we're not just UK based, we're actually bringing in everyone. And obviously, I've just recently come off a Zoom call with Australia. That's where obviously Steve's from. And and the admin of that group is bringing everyone together, and the Mental Health Warriors is actually involved with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so that's what we're doing.
That's the good thing about social media as well, is obviously there's a lot of bad things about it, but one of the best things about it is your reach, and you can speak to someone from the other side of the world from your kitchen, and it's free. So there's no end to the amount of people you speak to, as long as obviously it's managed in the right way and you're not getting addicted to it or going on it as a form of escapism to maybe rather than address your mental health issues. You use social media to distract yourself and you just endlessly scroll on it. It's obviously, as long as it's managed in the right way, it's definitely a good thing. That's why.
Yeah. And how was the response you got from your local school, Alex, when you were offering your services?
So initially, they basically just said they'd pass it on to the headmaster or headmistress and get back to me. I didn't hear anything. So I've got a friend who is a teacher there, so I've been speaking to her, and I've just reached out to I've just gone straight to the top this time. I'm trying to speak straight to the headmaster or headmistress, just to. Obviously, they're on the school holidays now at the moment anyway, so I'm not expecting a reply this month, but I'm hoping within the first couple of weeks of them being back, they can at least reach out to me and say if they've got something in place, or that they can, rather than doing nothing, either use me or someone else that can help. Like, as long as they're doing something that's going to prevent further former students from doing it, and that's all that matters, really.
Yeah, brilliant. And if they don't get back to you, maybe start targeting the Parents Association and say, hey, I'm trying to give your kids this possible thing that's going to help their mental health going forward that isn't normally taught in schools. I'm not getting much response from the heads of the actual school community. Maybe you guys could push that you'd love your kids to hear about that as well. Maybe a different change of tack to get them having more voices throwing it at them that they'd like that.
That's a really good idea. I'm actually going to make of that. If you don't mind, I'm gonna try do it. I'm gonna do that. That's right.
So, always try to think a little bit outside the box.
Have to.
I don't want to just reach out and then just fall on deaf ears. Like, at least if they respond and say, "Well, we've got this in place. We're doing such and such," that's fine. But just to ignore is a bit difficult to take, and I don't want to kind of give up on it. I want to keep going until I know that there's something in place to help or take action to avoid it and further people doing it, basically.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. So, at what ages do you think kids should learn about mental health?
It's difficult. I would say at the minimum within the transition to secondary school. So I think that's about the 10, 11-year-old mark. Because I think for me personally, I know that's when you start to have a bit more awareness of your surroundings and stuff, and you start to think about why you're actually at school, rather than just kind of learning the basics. You're starting to follow certain paths. You're figuring out what you're interested in and what you want to pursue. And obviously, a new environment brings its own challenges with a new school, new teachers, new people you need to try and get friends with, and maybe a couple years younger, year 5 and 6, so what's that, 8 years old up. But I think before that, I think maybe it's a very complex and deep and difficult subject. But I think from at least 10 years up, at least try and make it so it's not such a taboo subject. So talk about it like you would talk about a maths problem in school. So just make it like a part of everyday conversation, and it's not like, oh, we can focus on this, but when we talk about mental health, now we need to be very quiet and professional. And if you make it all into the same conversation, it's easier to talk about, I would say.
I think that's the secret, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, the very small amount of mental health discussions in schools does swing it to such a serious tone that you're terrifying the kids in the first place. Like we try to do here, at least still be able to have a laugh and go, look, it's not all doom and gloom, because you've got the support here to have the open discussion. It's more wanting the kids to feel comfortable in the environment they can share openly, not to think it's some totally scary subject that's only about suicide and feeling horrible. You want to sort of give them that light at the end of the tunnel, but like you said, have them just old enough that they're still mature at the maturity level to understand the conversation as well, and not be too silly about it, but not be too serious at the same time.
Definitely. And I think not going to them too early on. Like you said, they're going to be more responsive, and they're going to be able to deal with it in the right way. And I think that is a good age where certain issues can start. I think nowadays mental health with everyone on social media does maybe start for a younger age. But I think as long as you can kind of get the boundaries or foundations in early enough, so they can kind of recognise that when they're feeling like themselves. Well, because you can't be with everyone 24/7. You can't. No one can hold your hand throughout life. But as long as you can kind of sort yourself out, and if you are starting to feel down, having a support network of at least a few people that you trust and can talk about without worrying they're gonna tell someone else or post it on social media or tell teachers or whatever it is. As long as you can trust certain people, that's all you need, because then they'll help you in times of crisis, and everyone can help everyone in the way.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. See, I don't know about Australia, but we've got something called the PHSE lesson, which is part of the school curriculum here in the UK. And mental health is actually part of that. So, Alex, would you agree that, because this is the debate we're having here these days, do you agree that mental health should be removed from that and stand as its own individual topic in the school curriculum and made mandatory?
Definitely, without doubt. I think when I was at school, I don't even remember doing any mental health stuff in PSHE. No. So I don't know if that's more like a recent addition to it. But yeah, because then it just kind of gets just tied under the brush with everything else you learn about, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or whatever. But mental health affects everything. So a lot of people that suffer from mental health will turn to potentially substances and later in life, or unhelpful coping mechanisms to deal with stuff, rather than just simply talk about it, which is the best way to deal with stuff. So it has to be at the forefront, because, like I say, without mental health or good well-being, nothing else matters, because you don't want to live. I know that's the most serious extent of it, but it can get. That's what I'm saying. It can get to that. It can get to the point where you don't want to live because you're in pain internally. It doesn't matter how much money you're earning, what your friends say, what sports you enjoy. That all becomes irrelevant, because you start to not enjoy any of that. You isolate yourself, and for a lot of people, unfortunately, that is the only way out. So it has to be part of the main curriculum. It has to be.
So you know what, Steve? Do you think we should start a petition then?
Well, can't hurt, can it?
No. What have we got to lose, eh? What have we got to lose?
Because there's not. I mean, there's nothing here like that either. Nothing here like that at all either. You've got a few little bits and pieces where they dabble in it, which I think dabbling in mental health from people that aren't really living that workspace environment is probably worse than having no discussions about it at all in schools. You don't want just a little bit here and a little bit there confusing the hell out of the kids. Make it a bloody topic. I would rather my kids having, well, I've got 2 that have finished high school now, but 2 that are still there. If you could tell me that someone that knows what they're talking about spent a couple of subjects a week on teaching about mental health as opposed to learning about building pyramids in Egypt, I'll tell you right now as a parent, what the hell I want my kids fucking knowing about. And it's not that. I want them to know what's going to benefit them and not want them to kill themselves moving forward in life. It's a no-brainer for me as a parent.
100%.
Exactly. And this is why me and Kerry, obviously my wife, we was interviewed on an American show back in June, 23rd of June it was, and the host there, Loren Harris, he's been on the show before, and he says there's people out there that's covering autism, mindset, depression, all that. We're actually covering the fucking blanket, all on it, and that's what it should be.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the other thing is, when you've got maybe teachers that get given a mental health part of the curriculum to teach the kids, as well as they're teaching whatever their specialist subject is, history, geography, sport, whatever it is, you need someone that either has the kind of qualification or the degree in psychology or that kind of level, or the lived experience. It has to be one side or the other. So you either got the scientifically backed side of it and the knowledge that you've gained, or you've lived through it, because you're going to be the ones that can be that focal point and talk about things, and actually not just do it because you have to do it, tick in a box. You, for one, know it inside out, and you actually care about the person on the other end, that you're going to be able to listen to them and not just do it because you have to do it. It's because you almost want to do it and you've got a reason for doing it.
Yeah, I love that. It's just the purpose, isn't it? It's not digging deeper into anything else than just being someone that's prepared to listen and just provide that little bit of advice where you can, especially to young minds that aren't quite anywhere near that space of comprehension themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I do think it will get a lot better over the next, let's say, 5-10 years. There will be definitely a lot more, just already going out that way from the COVID pandemic. And my feed on LinkedIn and stuff is just pretty much majority is well-being or mental health stuff. So there's a lot of it about this. Like I said before, it's about people not trying to jump on the bandwagon, about doing it for the right reasons, and not just trying to make a quick buck off it and exploiting people's struggles. Because that's the danger, isn't it? Where now obviously mental health is talked about more people are kind of seeing that as the next big thing. But mental health has been around since humans have been around. So it's not anything new. Yeah. It's talked about a lot more now. Exactly. As long as people, their heart's in the right place and they genuinely want to help and not just make money off you, then that's what matters, really.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing I have a bit of an issue with in the life coaching world, which I am a part of, but with it being a totally unregulated industry, and there's people out there that are doing basically weekend warrior courses and going, "Yep, now I'm a qualified life coach. I'm going to be here to change your life." I mean, it's ridiculous. I've been involved in my studies for 4 years now, and it's well over $30,000 spent. It's not something you just wander off for a weekend and you pick up everything. You have to immerse yourself into this field for a number of years to have any sort of ounce of benefit to people. And it is a shame that there are people that are solely there going, wow, these coaches charge a lot. I'm just going to jump out there for a weekend or 5 days and that's it. My life's changing. I'm going to be making 6 figures a month and I'll be doing this, that, and the other. It's like, work out why you're doing it in the first place. Not for the money, but for the benefit, for the greater good. It's much easier way to be.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's the thing, like you said, it's so easy to just do an online course, or I'm a qualified life coach or whatever it is, for like 20 quid. But
yeah, so $7. It's like, really?
I know. That's the thing, like you said, because it's unregulated, unlike financial industry or other industries, for example. People can do it, but I think that they would get sussed out if someone genuinely needs help and they went to them, that they would realize they can't offer them certain things. Like it just it's a difficult one, isn't it? You can only focus on yourself. You can only focus on your own knowledge and experience and help people you come into contact with, and try not to worry about what everyone else is doing too much.
That's it. If you're coming from the heart instead of the head, you're always going to make the difference.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, all I've got to say is thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I've enjoyed speaking to both of you.
I double that, Alex. I think you've been an absolute champion, and what you've shared's been phenomenal. And I'm sure the people that catch this on the replay are going to gain so much value from your insights. And I'm certainly going to be jumping on board and following what you're doing from here on in, because I think there's going to be a lot of growth and awesome stuff coming out of here for sure.
Much appreciated. Yeah, thanks very much. That means a lot to me. I do appreciate that. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Now, I know I've got you on Facebook and LinkedIn, so yeah, if you want to share the hell out of this, that'd be yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And all I've got to say is I'm going to end this stream now. Great weekend. Have a great weekend. Like, it's already a weekend in Australia, so yeah. So you're talking to the future, Alex and Steve.
Well, yeah, guys. This is what your 8:22 p.m. looks like. You look a lot older. It's darker.
But believe it then, we will be back Monday morning, 11 a.m., 7 p.m. Steve's time. We're going to talk about aromatherapy. So Steve and I will be back with two brilliant women. We're not going to say who, but yeah. So on that note, don't be a stranger, Alex, and we'll want you back.
Thanks very much. See you later on, guys.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.